Suraj Singh, Faridabad, Bharat, India. After many days, I intend to discuss and talk about safety, SHE, safety, health and environment. I was talking about this before last month and before last month, but meanwhile, there have been some political and national and international issues. But I want to bring back to safety, you people, so that important this subject is also considered well because safety is very important in life. This is called SHE and ergonomics. SHE means safety, health, and environment because safety, health, and environment is not only an issue that should be considered for construction or for something else. It's an issue which exists everywhere in life, and environment is also very significant issue that is of utmost importance these days. And we have to be very serious about each and every aspect of life because life is not that insignificant which we consider every day. Risk is taken at every step, which is not good for each individual. You have a right to take risk for yourself, but you have no right to take risk for others. When you endanger yourself, means you endanger simultaneously other person, unknown person, to whom you have human relation, but you have no other relation. You got no right to impact upon that person, whosoever it may be. But every day it happens. We drive, we walk, we run, we construct, we involve in each affair of life without considering safety. Smallest example is traffic. You can say you drive a scooter, you don't have helmet. You drive car, you don't care for others. You just do rash driving or just overtake for no use, for no requirement of overtaking. Just speed of your car when there is red light. So there are so many instances in personal life, in general life, in construction life, in offices, everywhere. SHE, ergonomics based SHE, not simple SHE. I am not only talking about SHE, but ergonomics connection to that. And ergonomics means energy management. Ergonomics means you have certain energy with you. You have to use that energy like you use your money. It's an energy which is very important. You cannot waste your energy, and you waste, you are suffering. No one else suffers. Energy, whatever you eat, it comes from that. Whatever you operate, it comes from that. And you just waste that. It's your choice. No one can stop you. But energy makes your life. Energy gives you the impetus to work. Energy energizes you for further activity, and that is very important. So if you consider that, you have to take into consideration simultaneously energy management with your work management and your acts management every day. You have to take that into consideration because you are not illiterate people, you are intelligent people working somewhere at whatever level you are. In every activity, safety is important. First, we have to keep safe ourselves. For example, like you want to suppose you're walking on footpath or you're walking on road or pavement, you know, the person who constructed that or finished that, even if a small protrusion on that, say 1 centimeter protrusion or even 5 millimeter, a small protrusion on pavement, and if you don't know you're walking there, if your feet strike or your foot strikes there, you stumble or you feel you will fall. It happens, you see, you understand what I'm saying. A small portion of material that is above that surface, which is finished surface. A small 2-3 millimeter protrusion is there. While walking, you don't care for that, and you're stuck. Hey, you're hit by that. Or if you're walking on staircase, for example, staircase, and these risers, means vertical distance in one step is covered, one step is called riser, and there's a variation in risers at every step. One is 15 centimeter, one is 14.7 centimeter, one is 6 maybe centimeter. Means your step, your legs which read this, which feel this as more or less, and you don't feel comfortable, you feel in danger while rising or coming out, ascending or descending on that stage. You will find some mismanagement in yourself, and you can face accident while somebody is driving very fast or rash and bypassing you feel as something, some voice has hit you. That is all against safety. If somebody just blowing horn for nothing, for sake of blowing horn, and you are impacted upon, is a part of against safety. Means you are enjoying horn, there is no requirement, but the person on other side He is impacted upon your own, and you have no sense of that. You have no notice of that. You are harming that person just because you're enjoying your own system. That is a question to be considered. Means safety is not simply that you have to be physically there. Your mind should not be affected by someone else. Your thinking power should not be affected by someone else. You should feel no impact from someone. And it is not happening. Particularly in those countries where people don't bother about rules. In ours, great Bharat, India, where rule has got no meaning. Your mind is right. I have a big car, you have a small car, I have a right to go first, you have second right. This is conception. If somebody is crossing the road, even at zebra, they don't stop car, they just horn stop crossing. That is our nonsense. Means we are not ready to understand facts, we are not ready to respect others. That's problem. Means I'm just giving an example. There are hundreds of examples that can be given. Who bothers about what? On construction site, go and see how people are working. On unorganized sites, you say people are not having shoes to wear, they are using sandals, or sorry, you can say chappals, these rubber chappals, plastic chappals, or slippers, you can say. They are not having pants, they are just wearing something else. They are having hard hats, nothing, but they are working. They're not even concerned about what's their respirating, what dust is coming to their nose, aggregates dust is coming, or sand dust is coming, or cement fumes are coming. Nobody bothers. Just work and that's all. And after 10 years, you may be sick. Who bothers? That is what is safety requirement. If you do not understand safety, you are at risk, if not now, in future. If you understand safety, if you don't take measurement of that, you are fool. If you understand safety and take measure, you are a good person. You are aware of safety. It doesn't need any specific training. It needs common sense and a small level of training. That is called safety, because safety is related to health. If you lose safety, if you ignore safety, you ignore your health. And it's not only physical health, it is mental health, it is psychological health, it is health of your, it reduces your mental capacity, your thinking capacity, and your enjoying capacity. And also it impacts to environment, because safety, health, and environment, when your body is not tuned to immunity, you will be impacted by environment. And environment, we know how it is. It's not simply atmospheric environment, it is environment in society, it is environment in offices, it is environment in public, it is environment everywhere. It's not simply aerospace, it is space in your minds, space in the working culture, space everywhere that must be taken care of. But are we taking care of? We have to interrogate ourselves. Nobody should ask you when you are working this much mind everybody got. If you say no, I cannot understand, it's not my subject, not my topic. Every subject cannot be yours. It is not necessary that you are taught every subject. That is impossible. You are eating food, you are sleeping, you are rising in morning, you are walking, you are crossing the road, you are drinking water, you are thinking, whatever activity you are doing, have you got training of that activity in your school colleges? Many trainings you got by watching. For example, nature is there, we see sun in morning and we see no sun in night. What is that? Is that not a training? There is a sky. Is that not a training? You know there is a sky. There are stars. Is somebody going to tell you, see, this is a sky? No. Meaning is understood, but we see everything. When we see by eyes and we feel experience, or we can say enters into a state of, we get pragmatic knowledge, that is enough. Now necessarily your teacher has to tell everything. Nothing can be learned without teacher, that is right, but you can make yourself your teacher, or your colleague can be your teacher, your neighborhood can be your teacher. This nature is teacher. An example is nature is operating every day, every moment, every hour, and it has been operating for since it was is created. It was created by Almighty, by God. Since that time, it has been working. Like I was born today. Since that day, I have been working. My body is working. I'm not means I've been not I'm in person, but as a body, I'm owning this body or I'm possessing this body. This body shall continue to work till I die or till I'm alive. Similarly, nature is working. No one can stop it because it has been programmed like that. So we have to consider that way. System, natural system. It works just like computer is very small, just very small if you compare to universes. It's very, very small, but it works according to your commands or according to its automatic programming. Same way, we have to think. Thinking is very important. Thinking means concentration. Thinking leads you to further knowledge. Thinking is a connection to God. Thinking is a link to God because every answer is available in God's arena. It's not simply to refer books only. You have a feeling that because I am feeling something, you are feeling something because something is being sent to you to feel. And that feeling, when analyzed properly, or when it comes to analysis chamber of your soul, that can analyze and tell you, this is what I am, and use me. And that is where we understand science develops, engineering develops, mind develops, concentration develops, and we start thinking and analyzing and getting some answer to our problems which exist. Because automatically problems enter into one. So that is a part of controls are there. So we cannot simply say we have every program in us. We have to just search, discover, and find. Then we can use that to get our answers. That's what I'm saying. Safety is very important for everybody. Everybody should be safe. That is main thing. Machines should be safe. Equipment should be safe. And whatever you work in your life should be under safety. Whatever you eat should be safe. Where you walk should be safe. When you sleep should be safe. When you sit everywhere is safe. Whatever you do should be safe. That much awareness you should have. Though we do not note it, we don't. Oh, you see. Oh, there is something lying on road. Just you say it may harm someone, and if you just remove that in 1 second, you will find that someone is protected. Otherwise, some nail is lying somewhere, something like cycle can puncture, tire can puncture, or your leg can puncture there. If you just remove that, you have your own safety. It is your duty because you discover that nail is lying there. Best thing is you do apply some effort and remove that. So it makes you safe as well as follow up. All will be safe. But that is only small act. This is what I'm saying is it is awareness. Safety is awareness. It's not a specific knowledge. It's ever you know everything. You know if you are not using belt while driving a car, while sitting in a car, you can get shocked. But sometimes, oh, no problem to me. I am safe. May I see many people while even plane is taking off, it's no, we need a belt, as if it is a additional nose onto them. Oh, I am not using belt. Nothing happens to me. Nothing happens to you. That is right. Nothing happens to you. But can you stop something when it happens? Question is that nothing happens to me. That is fine. You are having optimist idea, optimism you are having. That is very nice. But you cannot stop a bad time because bad time never eludes you. Bad time never alerts you. It comes to you without information. And that is where you have to take protective measures if you have risk information that this can happen. And that is why we say if you maintain safety, you are fine. Or we say if you try to know safety, or if you know safety, it is no accident, it is no risk if you know safety. No safety, no pain. That was to say KNOW. No safety means NO, no pain. If there is safety, there is no pain. And if there is no safety, there is pain. It is very important to understand. And coming back to that, I'll start with safety. What I planned before, and I commissioned that, I worked on that. There were some chapters which were included in my discussions, and that is about very building practice and safety plan. Construction projects have been required since times immemorial. More than 50% budget is covered on development since times immemorial. More than 50% budget is covered on development works, which involves construction projects pertinent all types. Engineers from all disciplines work on such projects. Millions of workers contribute to such development around globe. Engineering has been very significant world to successfully deliver all such projects. In fact, generally not very literate workers are involved in this world of construction. Many accidents have been experienced on such projects due to reason of carelessness or neglect of work and supervision. Everyone is interested to do a fast delivery of proposed product at risk of personal attention and not caring for life value created anxiety inculcates a feeling to make a delivery at appointed date, even not availing ample rest and sleep properly. I have personally observed that works are not given adequate attention required from safety viewpoint. Though safety is too significant on such works, but it's not given value to be strictly complied with. Many incidents have been reported regarding collapse of crane booms, scaffoldings, and buildings slab during ongoing construction around the world. Scaffolding was a failure even on certain international airports during construction. For some transport system, failures on supporting works have been reported. Indeed, on plant facilities, safety care is intensively ensured. Even after so high level of safety care, bad incidents have been reported. I understand my duty to share my experience about safety requirements with fellow professionals and others in engineering construction sphere industry so that experience dissemination be affected with. Included within this publication are many topics about project construction, safety respecting practical aspects on activities conducted. Only few statements have been included that may cover a large scope of common construction faced by common engineers and particularly to help support the problem solution that are faced by budding engineers. Many safety management statements have been included from policy making to tool handling and then taking off to actual works on site. All activities could not be covered yet. An idea has been conveyed about questions in my mind. More statements and methods about how to handle safety issues can be developed. First 35 chapters involved with the methods, line management, site middle, and executive management. Certain sketches have been composed for information purposes to price about requirements. Chapters have been based on actual works affected in the field as a part of office engineering, field engineering management without including imaginations. Many years of information have been used to produce this work. A model organization chart or integrated management chart has also been included just for reference only. Certain activities have also been mentioned that require checks on site. Hope you may enjoy this. It's my interest to request all of you to have a better understanding of safety and purpose of this work is to assist those aspiring professional engineers who are unable currently to refer to certain practical works. It's my spiritual interest to produce certain works that may help engineers for continuous professional development, the so-called CPD support. I have stock of other works respecting construction method statements, plant facilities procedures, and many site-based management documents. Under work in publication of which shall depend on response received after successful reception of this document. Particularly, construction method statements should assist the actual work, prosecution on site, and cannot be extracted from the available books on globe. Similarly, no text area available that provides comprehensive information about the project's prosecution strategies, and it's always problematic for engineers to refer all such documents. Result to that lack of information leads to drop from management levels and chapters that possibly are interested in safety, policy, management system, site security, hand tools, first aid regulations, permit to work, housekeeping, safety training, emergency and evacuation plan, fire protection, PPE or personal protective equipment, excavation safety, control, storage and use of hazardous materials, incident reporting, lifting, rigging and hoisting, radiography operations, night working, scaffolds and ladders, temporary electrical supply, welding and cutting, working at height and fall prevention, abrasive wheels, construction of environmental control, hazard controls, confined space entry, road safety and vehicle operation, reward system, compressed gas cylinders, heat stress safe practices, disciplinary enforcement, site work, inspection and audits, plant facility project, construction safety relevant sketches and safety related sketches, etc. and charts of organization. This is what I expected to include in this. And now I'll start with chapter that is regarding, let me say, let me number it now. Yes, it is chapter 14, and this is regarding, I'll just blow it up for my chapter 14. Yes, incident reporting. I had given this in last of this, I think, about this one. So this is incident reporting as a scope, purpose, definitions, responsibilities, instructions, references, attachment. These are general, you can say, titling, general headings of index in each statement. So as a scope is to be applied for every incident that may occur on construction operation projects. No incident or accident should be hidden from management. What's the purpose? Purpose of this procedure is to ensure that all incidents are reported in a logical and consistent manner, to give guidance on preparation of accident reports, and to capture all information necessary to identify accident cause factors. Prevention of accidents adds to health and proficient working on sites. It adds to value engineering on production. It results in saving life of human. It results in professionalism. It results in capacity building potential. Definitions regarding certain terms. Safety means safety, health, and engineering disciplines to support project activities. Company means an organization carrying out or prosecuting project. Contractor means organization that has one project from client. Subcontractor means an organization that has one part of a project work from contractor organization. Client means an organization entitled company in contractual terms that has entrusted project to organization of contractor. Personal means all personnel involved in project site activities. Responsibility means the job and conflict responsibility. Training means the training imparted for a specific safety topics on job on project site. Management means organization, top, middle, and lower management. Safety manager means a person with job title safety manager developed by certain organization. Project manager means a person as such with parenthesis type PM title deployed by contractor. Engineer means a person appointed by client or client company for an overall project responsibility. Accident means any event that results in property damage or personal injury or both. Incident, or you can say incident or near miss, any event that has a potential for a higher severity in terms of property damage or personal injury or both. This is called near miss. You may say again any event that has a potential for a higher severity in terms of a property damage or personal injury or both. We say category 1 can be form used for recording all injuries and property damage incidents. Category B is form is used for investigating serious or potentially serious incidents and recording a root cause analysis. Contractor is, you may say, EPC contractor, and employer, you can say project owner. Then let us go in brief for responsibilities in general respecting certain contract positions. Project manager responsible for overall obligations to provide schedule, all resources, direction, engineering resource resolutions. Site manager responsible for overall site prosecution management over works and subcontractors. Site safety officer responsible for overall safety management on site and report to project manager, site manager, corporate safety manager. Construction manager responsible to arrange all safety related resources and provide site team all requirements. Project site engineer is responsible to carry out safety issues within section. Site safety inspector engineer responsible to supervise safety measures on site and contract control safety issues should bring to site line management to adopt correct measures. Site foreman responsible to comply safety measures as standards or as directed. An individual working on site responsible to maintain safety measures in case missing should bring that to site team attention. Let's consider brief responsibilities. Site manager ensures that incidents are being investigated and reported, ensure that victims are immediately allowed first aid following which hospitalization is provided, ensure that remedial actions are being dealt with in an effective and timely manner, immediately report all accidents or serious incidents to employers, contract engineer, construction manager, and contractors, project manager, who shall immediately inform employers, project manager. Comply with all accidents related procedures of reporting and investigating as well as extending medical aid and hospitalization. Contractor health, safety, environment, and security managers immediately report all accidents or serious incidents to site manager for necessary management action. Immediately act for meeting emergencies, procedures including reporting and medical provisions. Responsible for development of this procedure and monitoring of compliance, initiate investigation process. Subcontractor site manager shall ensure that this procedure is being implemented correctly. Contractor and subcontractor site supervision shall report all accidents or serious incidents immediately to their respective HSE manager, shall participate in administration of this procedure, shall ensure that recommendations resulting from whatever investigations are being acted upon. Subcontractor HSE manager shall facilitate implementation of this procedure whenever required by identifying and interacting with witnesses and collecting all evidences required in connection with investigation interrogation process, shall participate, cooperate in investigation process, shall liaise with site medical department in reviewing category A reports and identifying its trends or concerns. Immediately report all accidents or serious incidents to subcontractor, site manager, and contractor HSC manager. Subcontractors, all subcontractors shall be required to comply with this procedure. Instructions. This procedure has been broken down into two stages. Category 1 or Category A form is for minor incidents to enable site safety representative to maintain a log of all incidents and accidents, establishing trends, cost analysis, and construct a project file. Category B, pro forma are structured to enable effective investigation of all serious accidents or incidents and to arrive at root cause analysis. Guidance on use of incidents reports forms. Category A reports. Its attachment is available to be documented in medical center and with safety representative and recorded using following guidelines. Incident reports shall be marked, given a sequential number, type of incident to be ticked as appropriate. Description of incident, the medical safety representative provides brief details, potential severity for certain near miss incidents or situations that could have resulted in more serious injury, property damage. Property damage reports is self-explanatory. Injure, Injury report to be filled in by medico and injured party wherever relevant for possible application. Category A. Report pro forma can be used as a stand-alone document. Medico retains a copy of all completed forms to log all injuries and site safety representative would take all property damage incidents by maintaining a record on site. Category B. Site investigation result sheet. Investigation results sheet should be completed by site safety representative using following guidelines. Site safety representative has a coordinating role regarding preparation of these reports and shall establish an investigation team in conjunction with site manager to establish accident cause factors, immediate causes, unsafe acts and conditions to be identified using following guidelines. In this column is serial number, unsafe acts, indications, remarks. And let's say serial 1, operating equipment. Operating equipment, it says equipment not checked for performance. It is indications. Remark is generally not cared for. Let's say failure to warn or educate. No toolbox stock delivered, no warning given. This is the investigation recording I'm just telling you. I first told you about this operating equipment not checked for performance. So remark is generally not cared for. Same way, failure to warn or educate, no toolbox stock delivered, no warning given. And remark is generally formalized only, not realized. Failure to secure. Now, is ignorance by worker or carelessness or overconfidence of correct use. And remark is very common among workers, even safety belts, body harnesses are avoided. Then other is operating outside of design limitations. And problem is no authority instructed about rated speed of tool, worker unable to read description on tool. And remark is nobody cares, even safety personnel do ignore. Again another one is record is removing a safety device and for personal convenience or ease of working, remove device like guides or insulations. And remark is workers avoid device for ease of working using defective equipment. Routine maintenance failure. No competent person checked operational effectiveness of tool. And the remark is nobody cares for an earliest repair or replacement. Similarly, then it is not wearing personal protective equipment and it is general neglect by workers to avoid PPE just for little extra comfort, not using safety goggles, hard hats or safety shoes for various excuses of difficulty in operation or hearing. And remarks hard hats in hot areas are avoided, safety shoes are avoided, overalls are avoided, one for when expressed an excuse for having headache when hard hat is worn. Then it is next one, improper lifting technique. And it is lift on self-practiced style without caring for instructions given by manufacturers or methods as delivered during toolbox talk and mark is for fast running on job production safety techniques are ignored. Then one next one is improper placement of individual material. It is neglect of material, sorting and proper handling, lack of site supervision and safety surveillance, and remark means nobody cares in general. Improper position for task, not caring about tools, handling but talking, using mobile phones during tools operations. And remarking, nobody cares in general, policing cannot be done on site. Policing cannot be done on site. Nobody cares in general, policing cannot be done on site. Then next one is servicing equipment in operation. during operation, not caring about results or consequences, but trying to check the facts. And nobody cares in general, is remarked. Then horseplay or other non-work related activity. And it is playing with equipment or tools for own pleasure without caring for adverse consequences. And remark is nobody cares in general. Under influence of alcohol, drugs, medication, drinking without permission on works that hangs on a person. And nobody cares in general again. And then other identified acts using hoisting equipment for personal transport without permission, standing below equipment while it operates, neglect of operations, leaving tools in operating conditions, unattended, avoiding safety belts or harness, and remark is nobody cares in general. So these are various considerations that we have discussed. There can be hundreds more depending upon type of activity. One example, it recently happened, I think in somewhere Gulf, that one bulldozer was there, it was resting, it was idle, somebody slept below that, and when bulldozer operator came, that operator ignored everything, just started that bulldozer, and that person died. It happened practically. So what I mean to say, that is what a question of safety arises. Memories about safety issues. As a project manager, personally, I have been inclined to supervise many senior personnel and thousands of workers. What I experienced is not convincing. Ask many engineers and foremen about not using hard hats when such equipment had been provided by organization. Surprising responses received. Many responded that hard hats were kept in offices or in stores. I asked many to go back to store or offices and bring back hard hats or keep respective hats in offices or stores. It's ridiculous, right? One foreman replied that he was not willing to use for it caused inconvenience for his head due to having head stress. I instructed many personnel go back home should they not be interested to work dressed with PPE. I have seen many accidents due to not wearing PPEs by workers. I have seen many finger cuts resulting in bleeding due to ill use of grinders for drills. I chair many meetings with all supervising staff stressing for toolbox talks in details, but effect was not witnessed to meet requirements. I could not find any valid reason for not using PPE at cost of life. One person on a hospital project in Jeddah working on ground for an underground tank where RCC preparations activities were ongoing. I asked that. I asked all workers while visiting site to use hard hats at least, but instruction was ignored or hard hats were carried by hands. Person did not use hard hat. Unfortunately, leg slipped from ground and person fell into deep trench. Person's head struck with formwork, baton and life was lost. Sorry, I heard about this news when I was out of that organization. I have even observed certain stupid personnel not using safety belts, safety boots for reason of being tightly laced. In turn, slippers are used or chappals are used. Some workers were seen working on higher levels without using even such safety belts, though body harness should be used. Excuse explained was that it was not convenient for them to work fast. Every time belt was required to be removed and anchor again. Lifeline requires to be provided, but that too is not utilized properly. Sorry. Until construction learn until construction team does not respect life values, safety management cannot be enforced, policing cannot be suggested all time. And just another table is there, which I'm just speaking. First column is serial number, then it is unsafe conditions, then indications and remarks. So let me start like this. Inadequate guards or barriers. It is protection to work. Areas are not made adequate that causes undue situations to result in accident. Remarks often noticed on sites, but no action is promptly resorted to. Inadequate, improper protective equipment. Due protection is not provided on equipment or tools. Often noticed on site, but no action is promptly resorted to. Defective tools, equipment, or materials. Tools are not regularly inspected by experts from operational safety viewpoint, often noticed on sites but no action is promptly resorted to. Congested or restricted areas of work area not being tidy during work time leading to crashes, tithing activity conducted only during or before client is inspection, and remark is often noticed on sites but no action is promptly resorted to, and inadequate warning systems, required warning signs not installed for danger informations, often noticed on sites but no action is promptly resorted to. Chemical hazards. Areas remain unnoticed even by smaller quantity of hazardous material, sometimes neglected. Housekeeping. Poor housekeeping and no one to ensure good general arrangement for a comfortable working. And remark is often noticed on sites. Actions are sometimes resorted to. Noise exposure. Equipment and tools resulting in excessive notice, leading to hearing impairment temporarily. And remark is often noticed on sites. Hearing aids are used sometimes. Radiation exposure, very serious issue as can affect body permanently. Due protection is required, and remark is should be protected in plants. Sorry, temporary temperature extremes, very common in hot weather conditions, particularly in Arabian Gulf working areas where 4 to 50 degrees Celsius temperature is often, and remark is often noticed on sites. Actions are resorted to. In poor excessive illumination. Internal areas of buildings are not adequately illumined due to lack of electrical arrangements, leading to unpredicted accidents. And remark, often noticed on sites, actions are taken to go ahead with work, but electrical cables are not properly routed, and ventilation inadequate. Area internal of building, basements, water or other tanks, etc., are prone to ventilation issues, which is not an easily provided element. And remark is often noticed on site. Artificial compressed air should be provided where necessary but ignored in many cases. Other identified features: base scaffolding, lack of handrails on roof, lack of safety equipment, misuse of PPEs, shortage of cold and hot drinks for workers, lot of overtime working, lot of night working, no entertainment, and remark often noticed on sites, but no action is properly or promptly resorted to. Unsafe act should describe non-acts or bad acts or omissions which lead directly to unsafe conditions. Should describe unsafe act, again I repeat, unsafe act should describe non-acts, bad acts, or omissions which lead directly to accidents, and unsafe conditions should describe situation, systems, equipment, or some other solutions that should have been provided with to prevent incidents or accidents. Basic causes. Preconditions that lead to unsafe act or conditions may include, as indicated, and I'm just repeating, I'm just narrating that column is serial number, then preconditions that lead to unsafe act or condition and are remarked after that. So let's start like this: failure to react to an failure to react to an unusual situation, training of new procedure, personal equipment, process, materials. Sorry. Remark is not imparted with due to neglect by official. Next is no instruction provided or available, no toolbox talk conducted. Then is failure to correct existing situation, carelessness, ignorance, no problem attitude. Then instruction, training, inadequate or not understood. Remark says not confirmed by concerned officials. Then supervision failed to explain reasons or justify neglect of responsibility. You say supervision failed to listen, neglect of responsibility. You say duties and tasks are not clear, neglect of responsibility, and pressure of immediate tasks, lack of schedule and confidence. Responsibility not clear or not understood, lack of awareness of job. Too many decisions makers giving instructions, incoherent team. There's authority inadequate to manage situation, lack of leadership, decision to exceed authority, lack of leadership, decision avoidance, lack of leadership, instruction failed to produce desired results, lack of responsibility. Subordinates failed to use initiative, lack of leadership, moral tension and stress causing situations, lack of leadership, job descriptions are not adequate, lack of leadership, honest errors, wrong action taken, lack of leadership, lack of coordination, teamwork, lack of leadership, poor cooperation, lack of leadership and coordination, communication, fairly inspection and maintenance, lack of leadership and supervision. Faulty inspection and maintenance, faulty inspection of maintenance, lack of leadership and supervision. Poor work control, coordination, leading to poor site conditions, lack of leadership and supervision. Work load too much or too little, lack of leadership or controls. Staff shortages, high turnover, absenteeism, lack of leadership or controls. Personality type that is impulsive, excitable, lazy, etc. Lack of leadership or controls. Poor work habits, taking shortcuts, careless with tools, lack of leadership and supervision. Work assignment, unsuited for particular individual, lack of leadership and supervision management. Inadequate delegation or development of subordinates, lack of leadership and vision, health and impairment of individual, lack of leadership and vision, domestic or other external influences, lack of leadership. Root causes. General failure types found in accident causes can be listed as we are saying: procedures, inadequate quality of existing procedures, regarding application, availability, realism, and understanding cause by. Let's go one by one. Serial number, inadequate quality of existing procedures regarding application, then it is remarked. So, inadequate quality of existing procedures regarding applications, availability, realism, and understanding cause. As an inadequate team that developed the procedures, incompetent team management is remarked. Then, inadequate feedback about procedure, lack of leadership, commitment, communication, lack of leadership and lack of communication, personal not informed about procedures, lack of leadership and communication, inadequate indexing or filing system, lack of leadership management, lack of requirement to have works procedures, lack of leadership management, conflicting targets and remarks and conflicting targets. Let's say conflict between production and safe working practices, lack of leadership, conflict between financing proper priorities and safe working practices, lack of leadership, conflict between social and domestic priorities on safe working practices, lack of leadership, conflict between individual priorities and safe working practices, lack of leadership. Let's go to communications difficulties caused by that remarks. Language problems, cultural barriers, lack of leadership, lack of clear lines of communication, lack of leadership, inadequate feedback, namely toolbox talks, lack of leadership, no standardization of information formats, lack of leadership, lines of communication overloaded, lack of leadership. Then it's the hardware, quality, availability of tools and equipment, etc. And then remark. Inadequate specification of equipment, lack of leadership control, wrong components purchased or used, lack of leadership and controls. Equipment may not be available, leading to improvisation, lack of leadership, control, and vision. Defective equipment, lack of leadership and controls. Age of equipment compared to life expectancy, lack of leadership and vision. Then we say inadequate, you can say designs, inadequate design criteria by plant and equipment. And then the marks say design not fully understood to operate safely, lack of leadership coordination, poor specifications leading to substandard material and inherent work weakness in system, lack of leadership coordination and vision, specification not complied with, lack of leadership supervision. Let's say environmental conditions, a situation which may influence individual or workplace, and that's a remark. And after, let's say poor morale. Poor morale, this can be caused by a number of reasons, number of situations, namely unfair enforcement of rules, weak discipline, rule changes, etc. And remarks the lack of leadership, bad team management, physical deterioration caused by working long hours, subject to undue pressure, etc. Lack of leadership, bad team management, emergency or unusual situation with staff unable to cope with or to respond to, lack of leadership, bad team management can say, information not correct or supplied, lack of leadership, bad team management, poor coordination within departments causing interference problem, lack of leadership, bad team management. Circumstantial factors such as domestic pressures, homesickness, non-payment of salaries in time, reducing salaries, not promoting when due, etc. Lack of leadership, bad team management. Then we come to training, shortcomings in skill and knowledge, and these remarks. Ineffective pre-employment selection, bad HR management, human resources management. Prior education not compatible with job requirements, bad human resources management. No structured planning of training programs, bad human resources management. No assessment of training effectiveness, bad human resources management. Ineffective training, lack of leadership management. Training not appropriate for personnel it aimed at, lack of leadership. Housekeeping and other side conditions that may influence acts and to omissions, bad team management. We'll go to organization. Shortcomings in structure of organization leading to inadequate operation of a company or project in the remarks. Inadequately defined departments or parts of organization, bad corporate management, unclear accountability, responsibility or delegation structure, unclear hierarchy job description, appointment. Inadequate definitions of objectives and coordination of project and tasks, bad top management. Frequent reorganization of departments, bad top management, too much bureaucracy and rigidity, lack of leadership. Maintenance, inadequate management of maintenance and repairs, and this is that one title and remarks. Maintenance, inadequate management of maintenance and repairs. Inadequate planning, controlling, execution, and recording of maintenance programs. Bad corporate or project management. Shortage of maintenance personnel. Unclear policy. Financial or time constraints. Manage critically. Next one is defense. Defense is inadequate protection of employees and environment against hazardous situations caused by this lack of standardization, layout and display, bad corporate management. Ergonomic conditions, ergonomic consideration, human limitations, namely size and strength of individual, bad corporate management. Inadequate communication between designs and end users, allowing substandard conditions to remain unchecked. Lack of leadership. Financial and other constraints during design phases. Bad top management, poor discipline and enforcement, lack of leadership. Root causes listed as said are general. Root causes listed as in foregoing are general. These causes these causes can be correctly by employing professional engineers and managers by having pragmatism can check and resolve all issues. It should be noted that these failures are generally cumulative results of policy decisions and, where possible, they should also be checked for whatever actions taken to remedy such causes, factors at corporate level. Detail any remedial action taken to date. Self-explanatory. You brief details what actions are being put in effect to prevent recurrence. All actions to remedy foregoing causes or impacts should be recorded in details and additional action necessary to be recommended or instructed should be included for resorting to further actions. All requirements should be clear in all respects so that all instruction be self-explanatory on reporting documents. Priority action plan. Detailed actions to be taken including procedure changes, training programs, etc., with dates for completion. In addition to general and specific actions required to be resorted to, need no further accidents. State, no further accidents state. Immediate actions on priority basis required to be resorted to should be circulated immediately without any delay so that remedial procedures come into effect. Investigation team filled in by site safety representative indicating personnel who are included on investigation team and shall sign and date report. Report should be clear and precise and is required. Seminar or senior level talks could be planned for additional learning by all classes of personnel. And these are references. None attachments are there for this category A reporting form, category B incident investigation sheet. Investigation details which can include this form is completed in support of category B reports by supervisor in charge of work being carried out. In this report, supervisor should identify personal version of facts regarding what happened on work location, provide details of all pertinent information and give a brief statement on instruction given including training brief or all information given, which relates to supervisor's actions that may have a brief on incident. And general communication sheet is used for either category A or category B report, providing witnesses statements, sketches, investigation, comments of some other detail required in overall report. And then form is available here. I'm not going to share that. And the form is available there. And then you can say complete formats are available, and that's what this is chapter 14, incident reporting. I'll now move to chapter 15. Chapter 15 and chapter 15, it is 16 and it is 15. Yes, I'll move to chapter 15, which is also chapter 15. This is lifting, rigging, and hoisting. Chapter 15, lifting, rigging, and hoisting. Contents are scope, same contents as scope, purpose, definitions, responsibilities, instructions, references, attachments. So I'll go by one. Scope applies to all operations involving use of cranes and other lifting equipment, engageable for lifting materials equipment. Purpose of this procedure is to outline basic requirements for managing and controlling lifting operations. Lifting can be conducted for equipment raising, structural steel raising, material raise, both by tower cranes or by mobile crane, heavy equipment offloading from trailers, and also raising equipment to locations on foundations or on building tops. Tower crane is used for limited load, while mobile cranes are used for considerable loads. Tower cranes are fixed on locations or on tracks for limited transit. Mobile cranes can be used for all conditions of raising requirements. Hoists are also used for lifting materials in limited quantities. Hoists are only vertically movable in fixed position. Man lift is also used to raise personnel to elevate levels. Now definition, again I'm giving for purpose of information. But again before, but for just we may not go to try that definitions regarding certain terms and safety means safety, health, and environment disciplines to support the project activities. The company means an organization carrying out prosecuting project, and contractor means organization that has one project from client, and subcontractor means an organization that has one part of project work from contract organization. Client means an organization entitled company in contractual terms that has entrusted project to organization of contractor, and personal means all personnel involved in project. Site activities and responsibility means job and contract responsibility. Training means training imparted for specific safety topic on job on project site. And management means the organization, top, middle, and lower management. Safety means a person with job title, safety manager deployed by certain organization. The project manager means a person as a PM title deployed by contractor. Engineer means a person appointed by clients or client company for an overall project responsibility. An employer, project owner, contractor, EPC contractor, rigging study, a work method statement detailing sequence of work, weights and model equipment to be used, including locations and personnel employed, and competent personnel. Person means a person, personnel nominated as competent to take over all control of lifting operation. And goal post is a marker that is erected underneath overhead power lines to indicate safe working distance between crane and line. And British standard to be constructed in respect of this procedure for detailed responsibilities and planning of lifting operations. You can take whatever standard you want, EU standard or other standards. It doesn't make a difference. It's international talk and international, you can say, specification or method statement procedures. You can take whatever you want accordingly. Its only aim is to achieve safety and safe act. Responsibilities of gender respecting certain contexts of project manager. I say project manager responsible for oral obligation to provide schedule or resources, directions, engineering responsibilities, resolutions. Site manager responsible for overall site prosecution management over works and subcontractors. Site safety officer responsible for overall safety management on site and report to project manager. Site manager, corporate safety manager, with construction manager responsible to arrange all safety related resources and provide site team all requirements. Project site engineer responsible to carry out safety issues with inspection. Site safety inspector, engineer responsible to supervise this safety measures on site and control safety issues, so should bring to site and line management to adapt to correct the measures. And site foreman responsible for compliance of safety measures as standards or as directive. An individual working on site responsible to maintain safety measures in case missing should bring to site team attention. In case, okay, responsibilities. EPC contract site manager responsible to ensure that all work requirements are understood and followed by all parties involved in lifting operations on project site. And EPC contractor, HSE manager is responsible to ensure following actions: ensure that EPC contractor and subcontractor managers are familiar with this procedure, that any all lifting activities operations carried out are covered. This procedure, EPC contractor and subcontractor superintendent supervision and charge of work shall be responsible for following activities: supervise any all subcontractor carrying out lifting operations, ensure that work method statements and risk assessments have been carried out as required by nature of lifting operation, ensure that license or permitted riggers are available. A rigging study shall be conducted for all oversized lifts or lifts greater than 40-ton weight capacity. All rigging, repeat, all rigging study shall be conducted for all oversized lifts or lifts greater than 40-ton weight capacity. Agree locations, position of crane in relation with the overhead power lines, utilities. Ensure the work permits are made. Work permits they may be required are provided. Ensure equipment is adequate and duly third party certified TPC, EPC constructor, EPC contractor, and subcontractor. Supervision charge of light lifting operations shall be responsible for following activities, which are as the inherent communicate requirements of work method statement and permits with all responsible employees personnel. Ensure that area around lifts are barricaded. Ensure that lifting equipment is suitable to required meet right required rate capacity. Subcontractor maintenance shop sponsors, subcontractor maintenance shop supervisors is responsible for following activities: regular inspection maintenance of equipment, including entering records. Operators have a current valid license to compliance with local regulations. Instructions: accident usually of very severe nature involving failure and damage of lifting equipment have been noticed frequently on construction sites. Such accidents results in heavy human life losses and other damages on sites. Causes leading to such accidents may include like operator's error, inadequate inspections and maintenance of equipment, failure to plan operation with due precautions against overhead power lines, poor ground conditions and other possible obstructions, overloading and misuse of equipment. Cranes. Arrangement and draft documents for the safe and efficient management of crane operations set out in this procedure must be adhered to in respect to whatever cranes are brought to site. Crane operations. Crane operators must be appointed meeting following requirements. Must be over 21 years age and licensed, competent to operate crane, physically fit and physically capable to operate crane safely, understand duties of rigger and bankman with full understanding of signals used, adequately trained on crane assigned to operate, able to judge distances, height, and clearances, and not be color blind. No means of escape and safe use of fire extinguishers. Authorized to operate crane in use. Should know how to utilize riggers or banksmen. Banksmen riggers. Banksmen or riggers must be trained and competent to for tasks specifically they should be trained and experienced. Be able to determine weight, center of gravity, and characteristics of load. Inspect and determine whether or not a wire rope, sling, or other pieces of lifting equipment is damaged or not fit and suitable for intended purpose. Be familiar with slinging techniques using various types of slings. Know correct hand signals. Be authorized by subcontractor to carry out work. Ensure that tag lines are used on all loads. Competent person. For purpose of this requirement, subcontractor company involved in lifting operations on site shall appoint a competent person approved by EPC contractor to have an overall control of lifting operations. Duties shall specifically cover assessment and planning of lift with regard to selection of cranes, lifting rate, lifting gear, equipment, instruction, and supervision. Ensure that equipment selected has been adequately inspected and maintained. Ensure that an effective procedure is in use for reporting defects, taking into account remedial actions, taking responsibility for organization and control of lifting operations, stopping unsafe operation and reporting all incidents, testing and examinations. Cranes brought to site shall be load tested and tested by a third party. Crane operators shall check assigned cranes daily for engine oil, hydraulic oil, leaks, coolant, water, etc. Cranes having their configuration changed, dismantled, and re-erected shall also be tested for certification before use. Cranes manufacturers manual prescribe certain instructions, procedures, which shall be adhered to for ongoing maintenance. No part of a crane which is subject to lifting stresses shall be altered, welded, or changed in any way without reference and compliance to crane manufacturers' instructed procedures. Slings, shackles, belts, and some other pieces of lifting equipment shall have a valid certificate. Automatic safe load indicators. Mm. Automatic safe load indicators must be tested and thoroughly examined after erection and or installation of crane before use. Anti-two blocks shall be fitted and remain functional to prevent head and sheave blocks hitting. Two blocking is defined as condition in which I'm defining that two blocking condition in which lower load block or hook assembly comes in contact with upper load block or boom power sheave assembly, seriously interfering with safe operation of crane. When two blocking occurs, life-threatening forces can be applied to hoist or hook arrangements, either breaking hoist line or disengaging load straps from hook. This may cause load hook to fall or lose load, which may imperil lives of those working or standing directly below. Load radius indicator. Every crane brought to site shall have a load radius indicator fitted. Such indicator shall be used to ensure that crane is suitable for current activity use. Chart giving capacity at various distance locations must be available with crane manager operator. Ground stability. When planning a lift, considerations must be given to ground conditions. Bases could be additionally provided below jacks for further improvement to receive reactions. Outrigger and track loader. Track loading should be established before sitting crane. Sighting the crane, not sitting, sighting. Again, outrigger and track loading should be established before sighting crane, taking into account added weight when lifting operation works. When locating a crane in live operational area and on concrete ground, safe load limits should be calculated in conformance to specification of provided concrete foundations, etc. of area involved. For other reasons, for other areas, density and compaction qualities should be assessed. One should not reach a state when lifting crane itself is lifted during hoisting operation. Outriggers. Outriggers must be used as specified by crane manufacturer. Sound timber packing or metal plates shall be positioned under each outrigger pad to distribute load. Outriggers must be properly set and locked where locking devices are provided. Operator must ensure that pad of each outrigger is positioned correctly before lifting a load. Outriggers must be extended on both sides when performing a lifting operation. Piling operations. When cranes are used for piling operations, the determination should be made to ensure that jib and hoists ropes are not overloaded. Removal of friction and sheet piles may also place additional stresses on crane, for which a calculation is required to ensure that safe permitted operational limits are not exceeded. Following general points shall be adhered to. Length of jib shall be kept a minimum. Crane manufacturers' manual shall be referred to. Ensure that piling operations are permitted. Extraction of piles shall be carried out with a smooth pull and steady tension. Consideration for fitting of a buffer spring shock absorber between crane hook and extraction hammer. Personal carrying. Personnel may only be carried on a crane with use of man cage, and they shall be tied off above hook assembly. This practice shall be followed when use of a hoist, cherry picker, and scaffolding are impractical. Crane use must be fitted with dead man's control and incapable of free fall operations. Personnel may only be carried in a bosun's chair, a small swinging scaffold similar to a climbing harness, except that it has a rigid seat, man cage, or other suitable and tested certified container which shall display safe working load. Rigging of permitted van carrying container shall be carried on a single point suspension at hook end and configured to prevent all spins. Personnel working from a man cage shall be tied off above hook assembly by safety harness and lifelines. Fly jibs. Fly jibs on telescopic cranes shall only be erected or dismantled by a competent person, normally crane operator. Excavators. Excavators shall only be used for lifting loads not exceeding 1 ton, subject to following restrictions and compliances. Shall have a thorough inspection before use, periodic 12 months inspections, examine after alteration or repair, vehicle inspections conducted, have a safe load indicator fitted, have a safe working load SWL displayed, properly designed and installed lifting point, duly certified for such activity. A boom lowering control device on raising boom cylinders which meets requirements of ISO 86431-988. These devices may be deactivated while backhoe equipment is performing operations other than object handling. Activation shall be clearly indicated. Controls of the activation shall be within operator's zone of comfort according to ISO 60682-1986. VSCN 43745 requirements of hydraulic excavators, rated object handling capacity table. A table of rated object handling capacities established by manufacturer shall be provided. Tables shall be available at operators station. Load safety devices. Excavators intended for use in object handling operations and with a maximum rated lift is capacity of 1000 kg as defined by ISO 10567 1992 or an overturning moment 40,000 Newton meter shall be equipped with an acoustic or visual warning device which indicates to operator when object handling capacity or corresponding load moment is reached and continues as long as load or load moment is exceeded. Rated load is defined in rated object handling capacity tables. This device may be deactivated while excavator equipment is performing. Operations other than object handling. Activation shall be clearly indicated. Control of deactivation shall be within operator's zone of comfort according to ISO 668-21986. A boom lowering control device on raising boom cylinders and which meets requirements. ISO 86431-980. Note: NM is Newton meters greater than maximum rated object handling capacity is equal to safe working load as WL, and lowering control device is equal to check valve within operator's zone of comfort equal to within operator's reach and slide sight when sitting at controls. These two new European standards make all CPA FMCC booklet guidance for excavation use the cranes out of date. Many will be familiar with chart that was published in 1991 booklet and the few released those by manufacturers. The effect of wind speeds on crane operations. When, when wind velocities are above 32 kilometers per hour, rated load and boom length shall be reduced according to manufacturer's specification. Wind forces are greater at height by as much as 35% or more. All lifts above ground level must be accounted for wind force, that is, side loads, wind drafts, etc., as applied to load and boom. Overhead power lines. There's an area surrounding every power line that's referred to as an absolute limit of approach. It's strictly forbidden to move crane, boom, or load line into or through this area unless line has been de-energized or insulated. There are no exceptions. Absolute limit of approach varies according to following records. In proportion, line voltage and absolute line of approach, limit of approach, up to 250,000 volts, 20 feet or 6 meters, and over 200 to 250, you can say 2.25000 volts, or you can say 25,000 volts. It is 20 feet, 25 feet, and 7.5 meters. You may call it like a wave form. Once voltage has been identified, then height restrictions, goalposts should be erected at both sides of overhead lines to indicate safe working distance. Safety marking. All warning signs shall be posted in English and local language and Urdu language, or whatever language of that area where work is being prosecuted. All mobile cranes shall have a conspicuous, clear posted sign stating length or lengths of boom which may be fitted, safe working load, capacities at an appropriate radius, and recommended operating conditions. Such instruction plates shall be permanently affixed to cab of crane in a location readily visible to operators while being seated in control station. A sign warning of danger of overload power lines shall be mounted in each crane. And lifting operations, such as checklist, you may say it is, there are many checks in that. Has person responsible been adequately trained? It's the first question. Has person responsible been adequately trained? And then this, has weight, center of gravity, and nature of lifting article been determined? Where is the lifting article to be lifted from? Where is lifting article to be moved to? Has crane site been determined and is in best location? Has account been taken with regard to length of strings, etc., and clearance between load and crane chain? What's maximum load that can be lifted? What's maximum radius that crane can operate when lifting load? What is the maximum, including slings, spreader, beam, etc., that crane shall be lifting? Is there enough space to erect and operate crane and maintain a safe distance between counterweight and some fencing, building, etc. to enable pedestrian access? Or are these certain sleeve limitations on machine when under load? Has road been checked for locating crane with regard to certain overhead obstructions? Are there certain overhead power lines or other elevated obstructions which crane is likely to on way come into contact with? Has operating drivers and crew involved in lifting operations been fully briefed? Then the main basket for structural steel erection works. When using a main basket to perform work, certain steps must be taken before workers are lifted in using a main basket. Say, assure that NT2 blocking devices are provided in working. Check to assure baskets are properly constructed and connected according to OSHA requirements for suspended professional platforms. Inspect wire ropes and slings for wear frayed areas to be sure that they are capable of supporting at least 7 times intended load. Assure that crane is within 1% of level and located on firm footing. Check area practical lines so that could be contacted by crane. Conduct a proof test of system. Crane must lift the personal platform from where workers shall be. Workers shall enter to where they shall be operating with a full anticipated load. This step must be completed for every work position and each time crane is removed. Crane is moved. Assure that proper fall protection is utilized by employees, personnel working in basket. Take no chances when hoisting personnel in main basket. Always think safety. And hoists are of two principal types, goods and passenger goods. Allocation. Hoist ways are required to be fenced in at all points where exists certain possibility of a person being struck by hoist or some parts of its equipment. Gates are required to be fitted. Access to hoist is required. These gates must at all times be kept in good working order by proper maintenance and kept closed. When a platform is in motion, functional or not functional, parked at particular level. It's essential that all erection and similar works for hoists carried out by skilled personnel under control of a competent person. Erectors must work strictly in accordance with manufacturer's instructions, and operators of hoists are required to be trained and must be fit for carrying out jobs. It's recommended hoist operator with certificates of training attained pass approval. One person only should be appointed in charge of one machine, as there's a risk of accident if more than one person be appointed for control. And loading every hoist cage and platform shall be marked clearly with its safe working load. Person charged with the responsibility of loading and unloading. Hoist shall have an adequate knowledge of weight of items that are being placed on platform. Loading shall be carried out with due care. Loading shall be carried out with due care, ensuring that loads are not accidentally displaced by vibration of hoist. Special care to be taken for long loads, ensuring that these do not fall on any static part of hoist or surrounding enclosure. When placing loads inside case of a passenger hoist, great care should be taken to ensure that these do not bear against the gate of hoist. Good hoist. The use of good hoist for carriage of persons is strictly prohibited. Goods hoist and talking. Use of goods hoist for carriage of persons is strictly prohibited by a formal notice to this effect duly displayed within and outside of hoist. Personal access is permitted solely for loading and unloading hoist platform and not for carrying personal from this hoist, using this hoist to other locations hoist. Personal hoists are separate. Passengers hoists are now. Passenger hoists are permitted to carry goods provided that total load of passengers and goods does not exceed rate rated safe capacity working load of machine. I repeat it. Passenger hoists are permitted to carry goods and provided that total load of passengers and goods does not exceed rated safe capacity working loads of machine. Gates of passenger heights shall be interlocking position. That's gauge gates cannot be opened unless gauge is stationary at a landing level. It is a serious offense to interfere with interlocking mechanism of gate or with some other safety device fitted to hoist. Operator of passenger hoist shall be instructed about while leaving hoist should remove key from controls and keep it in personal custody or hand over to reliever. Inspections, tests and examinations. All hoists shall be tested and thoroughly examined by a competent person after erection and after substantial alternation or repair routine maintenance check. Passenger hoists must also be tested and thoroughly examined after height of travel has been altered. All hoists shall be inspected weekly by a competent person and the result entered in designated form and must be kept on site. All hoists shall be thoroughly examined by a competent person at a 6 monthly interval. Then they come to various adjustments are there and their forms are there. Wind speed definition is also there. That means to say wind speed milliseconds. Table is attached therewith and following table list speed in major units relevant to beauty before the wind scale numbers. Before wind scale numbers in internationally accepted reference for wind force. Range shall cease operation when wind speed exceeds the safe operation level recommended in manufacturer's specification. Updated weather reports from all offices are equal need be obtained. And briefly, this because numbers is 0 to 12, let's say. 1 0 says it's calm, 2 says light air, 1 says light air, and 2 says light breeze, and 3 says gentle breeze, and 4 says moderate breeze, and 5 says fresh breeze, and 6 says strong breeze, and 7 says near gale, and 8 says gale, and 9 says strong gale, and 10 says storm, 11 says violent storm, and 12 says hurricane, and various details are there. I'll just say about you can say kilometer per hour. We'll just fix on that because all of the details and various units and knots and km per second, m second and miles. So I'll just go for hour on this kilometer per hour. It says a big hot number. This is 0 is calm is 0 to 1.84 kilometer per hour. Just unnoticeable, you can say, and go to 1 that's light air. It is 1.84 to 5.52 kilometer per hour. Then 2 says light breeze, which is we can say 7.36 to 11.04 kilometer per hour. There's a 3, which is the gentle breeze, that's a 12.88 to 18.4 kilometer per hour. And then the 4 is a moderate breeze, which is 20.24 to 29.44 kilometer per hour. And then come to fresh breeze, is the 5, which is Beaufort numbers 5, fresh breeze 31.38 to 38.64 km per hour. And then 6 is strong breeze, which is 40.48 to 49.68 km per hour. And 7 is near gale, which is 51.52 to 60.72 km per hour. And 8 is gale, which is 62.5, so 73.6 kilometer per hour, and then 9 is a strong gale, which is 75.4 for 86.48 kilometer per hour. Then jump to 10, which is storm, which is 88.32 to 101.2 kilometer per hour, and then 11, which is a violent storm, which is 103.04 to 11.592 kilometer per hour. Then 12, which is hurricane, so 117.76 plus kilometer per hour, and this is what is about this record is lifting, rigging, and hoisting of cranes. And I like to go to next one, which is 16. Into 16 is radiography. Now, a very important chapter, radiography, which is very, very important from engineering and chemical works point of view, which is very important from yes, this chapter 6 on radiography operations, which says scope. So I say text index is same scope, purpose, definition, responsibilities, instructions, references, attachments, and scope is procedures shall apply to all activities involving use of radioactive isotope for carrying out non-destructive testing and detail. And purpose of this procedure is to provide instructions for controlling radiographic operations. Requirements of project procedures and safe practices shall also be complied with in performing radiographic operations. And definitions are safety means safety, health, and environment disciplines to support project activities, and company means an organization carrying out or prosecuting project, and contractor means organization that has one project from client, and subcontractor means an organization that has one part of the work from contractor organization. The client means an organization entitled company to in contractual terms and that has an interested project organization. Contractor and personnel means all personnel involved on project site activities, and responsibility means job, and contract responsibility and training means certain training imparted for specific safety topic and job and project site. And management means organization, top middle and lower management, and safety manager. Safety manager means a person job title safety manager developed by certain organization. The project manager means a person as such with pay and title deployed by conductor. Engineer means a person appointed by client to or client company for an overall project responsibility. And no definition and definition description meaning as an employer as radiography method of non-destructive testing used to ensure integrity of plant equipment and welding standards are classified work as a competent worker who carries out work, who carries out tasks involving radioactive sources, radioactive sources, and Seaworth symbol SV is international system of units. That's a standard unit of radiation. All is equal to 1 Seaworth equals 100 REM, and is absorb those. Let's say this one Seaworth symbol SV is international system of unit SI derived unit of equivalent radiation. Those effective dose and committed dose quantities that are measured in sieverts are designed to represent stochastic biological effects of ionization radiation. I repeat this, Sievert symbol SV, International System of Units SI, derived unit of equivalent radiation dose, effective dose, and committed dose. Quantities that are measured in sieverts are designed to represent stochastic biological effects of ionizing radiations, and standard unit of radiation is equal to 1 sievert equal 100 REM, and the absorb dose update is equal to 1 SV is equal to 1 J per kilogram is equal to 1 JE. Then radiation sources include X-rays, gamma sources such as iridium 192, erbium 19169. Note, cobalt 60 shall only be allowed on site with prior approval from EPC contractor, site manager, and employer. So prime is include X-rays, gamma sources such as iridium 192, erbium 169, and cobalt 60 is restricted. RPS, Radiation Protection Supervisor. Responsibilities in general respecting certain contract positions. Just moving fast on this, we're already told this one. So, project manager is responsible for overall obligations to provide scarce all resources, direction, engineering solutions. Site manager responsible for all site prosecution, management of works and subcontractor. Site safety officer responsible for overall safety management of the site and report to project manager, site manager, corporate safety manager. Construction manager responsible for financial safety related services and provides site team all requirements. Project site engineer responsible to carry out safety issues within a section. Site safety inspector engineer responsible to supervise the safety measures on site and control safety issues should bring to site line management to the correct measures. Site foreman responsible for compliance of safety measures and standards are as directed. In addition, working on site responsible to maintain safety measures in case missing should bring to site team attention and responsibilities are. EPC contractors are managed site manager responsible to ensure that all of our requirements described in this process are understood and followed. The EPC contract HSE manager responsible to ensure following points. EPC contract supervision of all subcontractors are familiar with this procedure. Radiographic operations are being carried out in compliance with procedures. Radiographic subcontract HSE managers or such designated responsible for ensuring following points which activities are checking all barriers, lights and signs prior to winding out of source, ensuring that radiographic subcontractor personnel are observing site safety requirements with regard to storage, transportation, and recording sources to be used. Instructions or training radiographic subcontract supervision in the implementation of this procedure. Monitoring radioactive levels to ensure that limit of exposure not being exceeded. EPC contractor, construction manager, and subcontract site manager shall coordinate radiography activities to minimize impact on other works areas with project sites, shall inform all necessary parties, including client, engineer, of certain planned activities applicable to this procedure. Welding supervisor, EPC contractor, and subcontractor shall have an overall responsibility for supervising radiographic personnel, including certain subcontractors that may be employed, with particular regard to application of works and following points activities. Ensure that all parties are informed in advance of activities involving radioactive sources. To brief subcontractors and personnel on safe working rules on site, shall ensure that all personnel performing work in handling radioactive materials are trained about these procedures and adequate arrangement access on site for receiving storage of radioactive sources to ensure that working rules and emergency procedures have been prepared for use of radioactive materials. Radioactive subcontractors shall be made aware of procedures contained and ensure to meet with following compliances. Ensure authorization from EPC contract site manager to work on project that prospective employees have been provided with suitable and sufficient personal protective equipment. Local radiations works rules have been submitted for approval and are implemented. Radiation protection supervisor is appointed to control work activities, and radiation protection supervisor shall appoint RPS duties shall include but not be limited to following activities: monitoring all work sites where ionization radiations are utilized to ensure work is carried out in accordance compliance with these regulations. Adherence to local rules and formulations of a continuous plan to ensure safe working practice with adequate emergency response successfully is required. Training and monitoring all workers exposed to ionization radiation to ensure that personnel perform assigned works without endangering themselves, fellow workers, and environment from impact of radiations. Provisions of approved dosimeter control are defined in regulations for work being performed with adequate records made respecting readings. For operation involving use of radioactive sources, following points do apply. Application shall initially be made on performance defined enrichments to EPC welding supervisor within 24 hours in advance for carrying out radiographic operations. Contractor welding supervisor shall review and authorize work as necessary. Authorization shall be provided on receipt of following information: exact location, start and finish time, adjacent operations, source type and strength. Wherever possible, special embankment compounds. Wherever possible, I'm saying, wherever possible, a special embankment compound shall be constructed to conduct radiography in a controlled manner away from main areas of work. Location sites of radiographic isotopes shall be logged and known by EPC conduct at all times. Before radiography is conducted, inside the operating plant operations, personnel shall be consulted in advance to ensure that certain possible interferences to functional instrumentation, including fire detection equipment, is taken into consideration. A permit to work (PTW) is required for these activities, which application should be raised by working party, welding supervisor, or radiographic operations supervisor. Radiographic subcontractor shall sign pro forma on attachment confirming understanding all precautions to be adhered to and observed prior to commencement of radiography. Subcontractors shall barrier off area, place flashing lights and check to ensure that all personnel have been evacuated from inside barriers. Distance of barriers shall be sufficient to ensure that no more than 75 sievert exposure occurs at various parameters. Where required, a collimator shall be fitted to end of projection tube for all external pipes, well shots in order to reduce size of control area. All discretion of engineering manager, client engineering manual alarm may be requested prior to commencement of operations. Even though test may be required, the discretion of engineers HSE manager to ensure that barriers have been erected at a safe distance. When all above requirements have been carried out, radiography may proceed. On completion of work, subcontractor shall return source to its storage area and then remove all barriers and equipment from barricaded site. Radiography application shall be returned to subcontractor welding supervisor who should file a radiography applications and emergency response. All subcontractors involved on use of ionizing radiations shall prepare formal contingency plan to deal with meeting whatever emergencies which might arise from storage, transportation, and use of ionizing radiation. Such plans shall include but not be limited to dealing with following emergencies: accidental overexposure to ionizing radiation, loss or theft of a source of ionizing radiation, vehicular accident involving transport of sources of ionizing radiation, failure of an exposed source to fully wind back into its sealed source container, physical damage to a sealed source causing possible leakage of radioactive material, contamination of environment with radioactive material. A standard list of emergency equipment indicated as follows: the provisional audible alarm, integrated dosimeters, tongs, pliers, screwdriver, long handled wire cutters, adjustable spanner, rope, hang length, tripod, radiation barriers, radiation warning signs, bands of lead shot, emergency storage container, pouring funnel to shoot storage container. Such contingency plans shall be forwarded to PC contract site HSC manager for incorporation with project overall emergency response scheme. All users of ionizing radiation shall be available all times. necessary means to contact RPS and emergency services. When operating outside normal base of operations on behalf of project shall be provided or notified. All emergency incidents shall be reported in writing to EPC contractor, site manager and EPC contractor, HSE manager, medical surveillance. Prior to coming to on site, all personnel involved in radiography shall undergo a medical examination to ensure that personnel have not been exposed to levels of radiation in excess to those laid down by host nations' regulations. Personnel shall carry personal dosimeters to track amounts of exposure and records be maintained respecting individual classified workers. Dosimeters provided shall normally be of film badge type, which could be analyzed on a monthly basis to maintain a record of exposure. In event that an individual has been exposed to a level of 100 mu SV at some point one time, personnel shall be immediately subject to medical surveillance. Doses level. Maximum permitted doses level over 8 hours are as follows. Classified worker 25 mSv per hour, unclassified worker 7.5 mSv per hour. Annual dose limits are as follows. Classified worker 50 mSv, unclassified worker 0.5 mSv, trainee worker 1.5 mSv. Equipment. All radiation sources used on site shall meet to an internationally recognized safety standard in accordance with HSE ionizing radiation regulations and shall be of a sealed source type. Two dose rate meters shall be available all times on site when radiography is being carried out. These meters shall be commensurate with type of radiation employed, be provided with a valid test certificate of calibration, and shall have a functional battery test position. Prior to using a source dose rate, meters shall be tested, that is namely by placing it near to or a container of a sealed source and storage. Wherever it's necessary to keep sources on site, following minimum requirement shall apply. Radiographic subcontractor is to submit drawings of proposed storage, compound and pit for engineer site approval. Compound and pit shall be made of sound construction, secured in a manner that prevents unauthorized entry and interference. Fence around source pit shall be at minimum of 2 meter height. It shall be constructed to provide proper shielding below 7.5 mu SV at fence line. Be fire resistant and protect sources from elements. Compound shall not be used for any other purpose than storing radioactive sources and have adequate warning signs displayed, namely trefoil and warning notices in local language and English, local language whatever. When not in use, radioactive isotopes shall at all times be kept under lock and key. Senior radiographic technician at site shall hold keys with EPC contractor, radiation safety officer to carry additional keys. Excuse me. Maximum strength of source allowed on site shall not exceed 50 curies. Sources acting 50 curies shall only be allowed on site with permission of employer and EPC contractor site manager. And there are Radiographic applications, forms are there, which can be simple forms like attachment to this radiographic application. Radiography is requested in following area. Following source shall be used. Type CI source system, plan, time of commencement, plan, type of finish, detail of equipment to be radiographed, sign subordinate representative, position, date, and authorization. It is in given, authorization is given, not given for an operation to be conducted subject to issuance of a permit to work. And this is that date, time, special conditions, and certification further. This is about chapter 16, geography, which is just now go to next one. There's night working come. Night working, which is also very important on major projects. Many activities are done at night, cannot be avoided. And that is night working. Though it's not that complicated, it's simple, just focus on administration regulations that you follow it. And the same night working is the chapter 17, the scope, purpose, definition, responsibilities, instruction, references, attachment. Procedure shall apply to all activities in concrete pours. Says procedure shall apply to all activities, namely concrete pours. NDT means non-destructive testing work, test runs that necessitate need for working during hours of darkness on projects. And purpose of this procedure is to outline requirements and responsibilities for certain work or activity carried out during hours of darkness or in areas where artificial lighting is required. Certain types of activities shall be required to be carried out during night hours due to compulsion of continuation of being major quantity of weather conditions do not permit during daytime. Again, certain types of activities shall be required to be carried out during night hours due to compulsion of continuation for being major quantity of weather conditions do not permit during day hours. For example, concrete pouring in summer, structural erection, summer, reinforcement assembly and placement in summer, preparatory works may be carried out during night hours. Overtime works may also be carried out during night hours. Concrete curing can be affected as well. NDT may preferably be conducted. Pipe testing measure for major works can also be carried out. Definitions are safe. As I told, safety means safety, health, environment is support project activities. Company, as I told before, contractor, I told before, subcontractor, I told before, client, I told before, personal means responsibilities of all and training, management, safety manager, etc. are same as I told before, and responsibilities all the same before, nothing new in that. So just running away, leaving that behind, and then can say contractor EPC got to apply project terms. The lumen specific is here is unit used to describe amount of light emitted by source or received on a surface, and lux is equivalent to 1 lumen per square meter. Lumen and lux. And LDT you know very well, non-destructive testing and responsibilities as before told, site manager and subcontractor site manager and contractor etc. So in this, I'll just go brief on this, not very explanative. This is subcontractor site manager shall coordinate activities to minimize night shift work, extended work hours, and also number of personnel involved in such activities. Shall inform contractor site manager whether whatever planned over time or night shift activity. It's a question of coordination, nothing very technical in that. Contractor and subcontractor superintendent, etc. means when required to work at night, responsible supplier shall ensure the site safety. Site safety representative has been informed and available, and measures for the organizers are done. Planning work as far as practicable to limit requirements of night work. Minimum hours should be preferred during nights. For activities such as radiography shall ensure that signs, barriers, and flashing lights are provided added lighting, including these persons have been informed and issue instructions particularly about movement of vehicles, etc. Concrete tracks, pumps, workers within area of work activity. Ensure that adequate barriers are provided around areas where hazards may exist and that such hazards are clearly lit. Ensure that lighting is adequate on all work areas, minimum of 100 lux, and that personnel are not working in dark. Ensure that work method statements and risk assessments have been carried out for work activities effectively. Ensure that adequate medical coverage is available during ongoing work, ensure that all tools and equipment are provided in advance of work being commenced with, ensure drinking water, tea, etc. are available for personnel working at night, ensure that toilet is open. Maintenance personnel are responsible for any issues with regular inspection and maintenance of lighting equipment. All installed lighting equipment shall be checked in accordance with project temporary electrical procedures and that cables are routed, preventing trip hazards. Contractors shall ensure that all are aware of contents of this procedure, having authorization to work during night hours. Employees are provided with suitable, sufficient personal protective equipment. First aiders are present during night work. Instructions are following table indicates the minimum levels of illumination, and that is interior movement only 5 lux, handling material 10 lux, general rough work 15 lux, interior working places 15 lux, interior reinforcing and concreting 50 lux, brick laying 100 lux, bench work plastering 200 lux, interior workshops 400 lux, drawing boards 400 lux. A general rule: office lighting is set at around 100 lux. Area lighting. Object of area lighting should be to produce an overall level of illumination sufficient for personnel and equipment to move around safely to carry out work activities without exposure to any risk. When setting up temporary lighting, consideration should be given to respective locations, ensuring all areas receive illuminations from at least two directions to prevent shadow. If you take light, you have to take two directions, not single direction, to remove shadow. Whenever possible, conventional tungsten or tungsten halogen lights should be used. Nowadays, various lights are available. This is very old statement, so don't stick to this one. It's your choice. High pressure sodium light should be avoided due to potential fire risks. Lights should be mounted on poles or towers and spaced for optimal light distribution. Practice to place halogen lights units on ground to illuminate a work area causes a hazardous glare. General aspects of area lighting should be followed. All points of exit pathways and muster points must be clearly illumined. Ladder accesses and egress shall be clearly illumined. Lighting equipment provided shall be 220 volts and checked in accordance with procedure for temporary apparatus. Where bayonet-type light bulbs are used, stingers for illuminating passageways and stairs shall be protected by cages. Light provided for this purpose shall be located such as to avoid glare. All lights shall be located at predefined spacing so that all areas are well illumined without causing certain glaring hazard. Illumination shall be measured prior to work being carried out by a light meter calibrated in lux. Tower lighting shall be positioned such that illumines all parts of area where work is going. Lights should be provided in confined spaces. Back up lights shall be provided in case of power failure. Generators shall be checked prior to use to ensure that they meet some special requirements for hazardous areas. Light poles, other metal poles shall be earthed and circuit fitted with residual current devices. Cables employed for purpose of temporary light shall be routed to ensure that they do not present a trip hazard or other obstructions. And this is what is small method for night working. And I'll go to next one, and that is scaffolds. That's very common, though it's better just to refresh. It's common, but very chance seeking for accidents, and it is very important from professional point of view, though it's taken very lightly. Scope fields and letters and same thing, scope, purpose, definition, responsibility, instructions, reference, attachments, and used as a guideline for scaffold erection. This is scope of this one. Purpose of this procedure is to set defined standards for scaffolds that shall be erected using sound materials and to set defined further standards for respective safety and procedural inspections of specific periods. Scaffolding is a complicated activity requiring professional attention since it is often prone to collapse. Correct standards, methods, designs, and installation should be well understood prior to making use of system. Scaffolding system for permanent work such as formwork supporting system, scaffolding system for preparatory works such as working platforms. Actually, one is permanent work, one is preparatory work, then temporary work as well. An attempt has been in this case to talk of preparatory works. Rules and definitions are safety, same definition, safety, SHE, company, contractor, subcontractor, all that is there. And so no need repeating them because these are same general and wasting time repeating them. And then go to unit form, says all around other types of works made frame. This one. So two and one is unit form work, quick stays, all around or other types of purpose made frames or units are these tubes and fittings. So individual tubes of varying lengths held together by individual couplers. Only system tube and coupler shall be used to erect scaffolds. Frame unit scaffolding and tube couplers type shall not be mixed into a single structure. Use of formwork type timber shall not be employed as a load-bearing scaffolding materials. The components are base plate, a metal base with a central spigot for distributing load from a standard decker or load-bearing tube. Bay length, distance between two adjacent standards along face of a scaffold. Board, a softwood or metal board used with similar boards to provide access platforms. Working platforms or the boards. Board bearer, intermediate transepts, a tube spanning across ledges at mid-span to support a working platform. Brace, a tube incorporated diagonally across two or more members in a scaffold and secured to them in order to ensure stability. Buttress, an adequately braced tubular structure erected against existing scaffolding for purpose of strengthening it. Caster, a swiveling weir with a lock device secured to base for purpose of making a scaffold mobile. It's called caster. Swiveling wheel with a lock device secured to base for purpose of making a scaffold mobile. Toe board with lock clip used to fix a toe board to a scaffold tube. Coupler, a joiner fitting used to fix scaffold tube together. Couplers are divided into load-bearing or non-load-bearing. Guardrail, a tube secured onto scaffold to prevent fall of a person. It's called guardrail. Hoop iron, metal bound, fitted to ends of a softwood board to prevent splitting. Ledger, a horizontal tube secured to standards with load-bearing fittings, prevents standards from bobbing and acts as a support for transoms, board bearers, and ledger-to-ledger diagonal bracing. Access platform, a fully boarded out bay that provides a step-off points for ladder access. Lift, assembly of ledgers, transoms, and board bearers forming such horizontal level of a scaffold. Neither transom extended from a scaffold. Node point, common point where ledgers, standards, and transoms are fixed. Puncheon, a vertical tube secured at its lower end with a load-bearing coupler to a horizontal tube. Load is not transmitted directly into ground or into a base plate. Wrecker. An inclined load-bearing tube. Scaff tag is strategically displayed normally at access point to every scaffold, which indicates that scaffold has been inspected within previous 7 days and is safe to use. Sleeve coupler, a fitting connected over a scaffold tube and is used to join one tube to another end to end. Sole plate, a timber normally a short scaffold board used to spread load from base plate over an extended area. Spigot joint pin, a fitting connected inside a scaffold tube and is used to join one tube to another end to end. Standard, a vertical tube used to transmit load to ground or ground level. Stop end, a guard rail placed across end of a scaffold or used to isolate unboarded parts. Tie, a tube used to tie a scaffold into a secure anchorage. A board tie. This type in tie board, a board positioned along edge of a platform to prevent persons, tools, and materials falling from platform. Transom, a tube connecting outer standards to inner standards. It spans across ledgers and forms working platform. Unit beam, a purpose-made lattice beam incorporated into a scaffold structure to form a bridge, where an extended opening between standards is necessary. Working platform, boarded out deck from which work is carried out. Responsibilities in general respecting certain contract positions. Project manager responsible for all obligations to provide schedule, all resources, direction, engineering, and same site manager and site safety officer and construction manager, project site engineer, etc. All same individual. Responsibilities, EPC, contractor, subcontractor, subcontractors are same, nothing new in this. Subcontractors, scaffold coordinators. Ensure that all scaffolders are aware of and work in compliance to best industry practices for erection of scaffolds. Establish a system for tagging scaffolds to identify whether or not they are safe and fit for intended purpose. Establish a system for recording history of scaffolds from installation, application, beam, erection, certification, and dismantling. Arrange for and provide adequate training to concerned personnel as required. Liaison with engineering group for designing especially suitable and purpose-built scaffolds. Ensure that scaffolds erected in potentially hazardous areas, namely working over water, are designed and erected to recognize standards. Ensure that materials are checked before use and remain in sound condition. Advise site management of all expected, foreseen, unforeseen concerns. Instructions. Materials. All scaffolding materials procured shall be sound in construction and have adequate design strength, shall be manufactured, constructed and maintained in international standards, suitable or applicable on project materials. Project materials used to erect scaffold structures shall conform to procedures. Tube units, frames, timbers, etc. shall be straight plumb when seen by eye, be free of cracks, splits, excessive corrosion, or other defects. Ends shall be cut square with excess of tube. Tube unit or frame requiring high degree of maintenance, such as wire brushing or scraping, shall be replaced. No tube unit or frame shall be painted Only acceptable is galvanizing zinc prime surface. No black steel tube shall be used. Scaffolding board planks. Board of similar equal thickness shall be used to deck out individual scaffolds. Scaffolding boards having knots more than 50 mm diameter shall not be acceptable. Edge nodes shall not exceed 50% of thickness of board. Edge nodes shall not exceed 50% of thickness of board. Wrapped boards shall not be used. Scaffold boards with splits are not acceptable. There shall be no cut-out checks, burns, oil stains, or projecting nails. Boards shall not be painted or treated in any other way, which may conceal defects. Boards may be made fireproof using an approved flame retardant material. Broken or excessively worn out boards shall not be acceptable. Boards shall be square cut and bound with a hoop iron. Couplers. Couplers found to be broken or damaged or having damaged threads shall be discarded. Couplers shall be sorted by type. They shall be kept clean and lightly oiled to prevent rust. All scaffolding material shall be sound in manufacturing and have adequate strength, shall be manufactured, constructed, and maintained to suitable international standards. Storage of materials. All scaffolding materials shall be properly and neatly stored on suitable constructed scaffolding racks. Tubes shall be sorted and stored by length. Couplers shall be sorted and stored by type. Boards shall be stored not merely than 20 number pile or equal to such stack height. Where materials are being stored at side friction for immediate use shall be stored in a tidy manner, which does not present a tripling hazard or block access routes. General rules. Foundations shall, as far as practicable, be level and adequate to carry imposed loads. Base plates shall be placed under every standard irrespective of whatever type existing foundation surface. Timber sole plates shall be placed under heavy base plate where foundation is other than concrete or metal plain decking. This rule shall apply to open deck rating. Timber sole plates where required shall be placed underneath base plate on two adjacent standards, normally at right angles to face off scaffold. Sole plate shall extend 600 mm either side of two adjacent standards, which is support. Under no circumstances shall scaffolds be undermined by excavation. Standards tube and coupler scaffolds. Standards shall be plumbed vertical. Standards shall be plumbed vertical. Spacing between standards is determined by intended use of scaffold. Under no circumstances shall bay length exceed those distances appended in attachment. Joints in standards can be made with sleeve, couplers, or spigots, joint pins. Joints must be staggered. They must not occur at same level in adjacent standards. Ledgers, tube and coupler scaffolds. Ledgers must be plumbed, level and fixed inside of standards using right angle load bearing couplers. Ledger must not extend more than 50 mm past load bearing coupler. Vertical distance, lift height between ledgers must not exceed 2 meters. Join, Joints and ledgers shall be made with sleeve couplers as spigot joint pins are not acceptable. All joints must be staggered. Right angle couplers, double or 90 degrees, are only fitting suitable as load bearings. Swivel couplers are not acceptable in a load bearing capacity. Transoms. Transoms should, whenever possible, be secured to standards using right angle coupler. They may, however, be laid across ledgers and secured with put-lock clips, provided they are not more than 300 from each pair of standards. A transom must not extend more than 50 past right angle coupler put-lock clip. Tie-ins, independent scaffolds. Tie-in must be fixed at every second lift and every second standard, where a scaffold has been sheathed out with tarpaulins. Consideration shall be given to additional wind loading and insertion of additional ties. All ties shall be posted, two-way ties, that is, they shall prevent movement of scaffolds either into or away from building. All tie-ins must be secured as near to node points as is possible, where standards and ledgers intersect. Only load-bearing couplers shall be acceptable. Anchorage points to which a tie is secured must be of sufficient strength to withstand load imposed upon it. Under no circumstances shall guardrails be used as an anchorage point for ties. As a general rule, ties must always be inserted where there is not possible following alternative action may be taken. On small scaffolds, no, not extending above 3 lifts, stability of scaffold can be achieved by rackers. Rackers shall be secured with right angle couplers to ledger at second lift. Load in trackers shall be distributed through a base plate or, if required, a sole board. Foot of racker shall be tied back to main scaffold. Rackers shall be inserted at same standard spacing as tie. No racker shall extend more than 3 meters without being tied back at its midpoint. Braces. All scaffolds shall be braced in both directions. Braces, whether facade or ledger to ledger, shall extend to full height of structure. Facade braces shall be repeated at a maximum distance of every 10 meters. Ledger to ledger braces shall be repeated every alternate set of standards. Joints in facade braces shall be made with sleeve couplers as spigots are not acceptable. Where braces are fixed to transoms, a transom itself must be fixed with right angle couplers. Working platform. Working platforms shall normally be 5 boards wide but may be reduced to 2 boards where scaffold has been erected for inspection or access purpose only. All working platforms shall be closely boarded by butting together end to end. Boards shall either be cut to fit around standards, pipes, penetrations, etc., or have gaps filled with use of suitable fixed wooden boarding, etc. That's plywood. Each individual board shall be securely lashed. Guardrails shall be fixed to inside of standards on all working platforms to a height of between 1.1 meter and 1.5 meters maximum. Space between top of toe board and underside of guardrail shall not exceed 690 An intermediate guardrail shall be fixed to inside of standards in every instance. Toe boards, including stop and board, shall be fitted to all working platforms. Minimum height shall be 150 mm. If materials are to be stacked above height of toe board, a suitable barrier, brick guards, shall be erected. Leather access openings shall not be more than 500 mm wide and shall be as short as possible in other directions. Maximum span of board forming working platform shall be 1.2 meter. Minimum overhang of board shall not be less than 50 mm and maximum overhang shall not exceed 150 mm. No more than two boards width shall be supported on needle transoms unless transoms are fixed with right angle coupler and picked up. Ladders access platforms. Vertical height between ladders access platforms shall not exceed 9 meters. Ladder access platform shall be close boarded and shall have guard rails and toe boards secured. Ladders shall project beyond working platforms or ladder access platforms by a minimum distance of 1.05 meters or 5 rungs. Ladders shall be based on a sound footing, shall be lashed or secured by a proprietary clamp at both foot and near top. Angle at which leather is set shall, with the exception of scaffold towers, be 75° or 300 mm out for every 1.2 meter of vertical length. Long ladders shall be supported and lashed at their midpoint to remove some bounce stacking. Ladders shall be constructed of aluminum or wood. Only properly constructed and manufactured ladders shall be used. Homemade ladders are strictly prohibited. Wooden ladders shall not be used in plant facility areas. All ladders shall be of good repair and sound construction. Shall be checked for damage, faults and wear and tear by approved scaffolding supervisor before use. Metal tie rods shall be in place. Ladders may be on outside of a scaffold for first two lifts above ground level. In every other instance, ladder run shall be internal to scaffold. Protective fence. When it's likely that material may fall from either a building or a scaffold down to where people are working below or passing in close proximity to structure, a protective fan may be considered. Protective fans shall not be used to store scaffoldings or other materials. Protective fans shall not be more than 5 meters above ground level, shall be at least 2 meters wide and fixed at an angle not exceeding 20 degrees. Check fittings. Without exception, check fittings shall be used whenever a scaffolding tube is punched up, picked up, record, or hanging. Scaffold loadings. It is the responsibility of approved scaffold coordinator to ensure that system construction and strength is suitable for purpose for which it shall be used. Design calculations shall be submitted to engineering department for scaffolding system arrangements, but not for common scaffold, which is independent or freestanding. Calculation shall show both dead and live loading and its final stability under all loads. Scaff tag. Scaff tag is a system of inspection whereby weather-proofed plasticized tag is fixed at all access points of a scaffold. Information on tag shall include date, directed, safe working load, Inspector's name, signatures, and company. This tag, generally green, indicates that scaffold is safe to use. Within a period of not exceeding 7 days, scaffold shall be re-inspected by a competent person. Scaffold shall be re-inspected by a competent person. Scaffold supervisor will say a signature and date repeated replaced upon tag. Where a scaffold does not meet safety standards, tag shall be removed and a use prohibition notice placed at access to inform personnel not to use it. A record of all scaffold inspections shall be filed in on approved scaffold register. Traffic movements where a scaffold is erected in an area likely to be struck by a vehicle. Base of scaffold shall be properly protected using hard JV barriers. Barriers shall be illumined with flashing warning lights during hours of darkness. And scaffolding types are common access scaffold are say independently tied, butt cage, butt cage, freestanding, freestanding tower, fixed or mobile, hanging scaffold, single lift only. System scaffold. When a system scaffold is being erected, it shall be constructed in strict compliance with manufacturer's instructions. Different manufacturer systems shall not be intermixed and it is not advisable to use standard tube and coupler with any one system. A copy of manufacturer's instructions shall be given to EPC contractor safety department for before certain system scaffold is erected. Personnel who erect system scaffolders shall be trained to be competent so to do independent tied scaffolds. This consists of two rows of standard running parallel to a building, joined together with ledgers and transoms, adequately braced in two directions. Independent tied scaffold shall not be erected to a height of more than 4.5 meters, 45 meters, I think 45 meters, sorry, without design calculations being submitted to engineering department by competent scaffold engineer. System scaffold, bud cage scaffold are constructed in a grid pattern using standards arranged at regular intervals in parallel lines. Standards shall be laced together with a grid of ledgers and transoms fixed by right angle couplers at every lift. Transoms in Transoms in top working lift may be secured with hook lock clips. Standards shall be spaced at a maximum distance of 2.5 meters in each direction. First lift shall be secured at a maximum height of 2.5 meter. Subsequent lifts shall not exceed 2 meters vertical height. Braces shall be provided for every 6 standards in each line in both directions. Freestanding tower mobile scaffolds. Freestanding tower mobiles may be fitted with casters or wheels for mobility or erected as freestanding towers. They support a single platform only, which shall not project beyond base area. Access to platform shall be by vertical ladder, lashed internal to tower at one of shortest sides. Maximum loading shall not exceed that for light duty scaffolding as specified. Unless a structure has been designed by a competent engineer and design calculations submitted to engineering department, smallest base dimension shall not be less than 1.2 meter. Height to base dimension ratio shall be provided as follows. Mobile towers no more than 3 times minimum base dimension. Stationary towers no more than 3 times minimum base dimension. Mobile towers shall only be used and moved on firm and level surfaces or steel channels. Caster or wheels shall be used which suit size and loading of tower. Must be fixed to each extreme corner in base plate mobile towers and secure so that they cannot fall out when tower is moved. Casters and wheels shall be fitted with an effective brake which must be applied when mobile tower is in use. Lift height shall not exceed 2.7 meters with lowest lift being fixed as neat as near as to base as possible. Transoms and ledgers shall be secured using right angle couplers. Ledger to ledger dogleg braces. Dogleg braces shall be fixed to full height of tower on every side. Plain braces shall be fixed at every alternate lift using right angle couplers. Bottom lift and top lift shall always be plan braced. Under no circumstances shall horizontal forces be applied at level of working platform by pulling heavy cables on ropes. Under no circumstances shall mobile tower be moved with men or material on working platform. In all other respects, freestanding towers shall comply with general requirements as specified in this section. Slung scaffolds, single lift only. A slung scaffold is a grid platform of tubes and couplers suspended below load-bearing beams, structural members, or other overhead structures. In all instances, contractor, project field engineer shall be consulted to ensure integrity and adequate strength of suspension points. Guardrails shall not be used as supports for slung scaffolds. Hangers shall not be spaced more than 2.5 meters in either direction. Imposed load shall not exceed that specified for inspections in very light duty scaffolds. Horizontal tubes used to support hangers shall be secured to steelwork within compatible fittings. These shall be used in pairs. Vertical hanging tubes shall be secured with right angle couplers. A check fitting shall be fixed to hanging tube immediately above, securing a right angle coupler at suspension point and immediately underneath right angle coupler, securing ledger at working platform. Adequate braces shall be inserted to remove away in either direction. Remove sway, sorry. Adequate braces shall be inserted to remove sway in either direction. In all other respects, a hanging scaffold completely shall comply with general requirements as specified in this section. Tanks and other vessels. Where a scaffold is erected around tanks or other spherical vessels, it shall be permissible to cap and corner overlap boards forming working platform. Fixed ladder with backing hoops which normally provide access to tank or vessel shall not be used as scaffold access ladders. Erection of scaffolding. Scaffolds shall be erected by workmen deemed competent to carry out such activities. All such competent workmen shall operate under control of a competent supervisor. Whenever possible, competent workmen erecting scaffolding shall work for a minimum of a three-board run. It's not acceptable for scaffolders to be perched on tubes unless a fall arrest device is provided and secured to a suitable anchorage point all times. Ladders shall be properly provided with throughout vertical height of a scaffold as it progresses. Workmen erecting scaffold shall use ladders to gain access to working level. Tubes or boards being used in construction of scaffold shall be stored flat in a near and tidy manner. Shall not be stacked vertically against scaffolds. Loose tubes or boards shall not be left on a scaffolding after its completion. Where men are erecting a slung or cantilevered section or crawling around on a pipe bridge or other structural steelwork, they shall, in all instances where exists a possibility of falling more than 2 meters, wear a safety harness and lifetime, which must be hooked, anchored at all times. Where a scaffold is left in an incomplete state, bottom ladder shall be removed and a notice fixed or hung to lower lift, lower lift static. Danger: incomplete scaffold keep off. When one section of a working platform is incomplete, access may be gained to completed section, provided that stop and preventing entry is placed on the working platform at guardrail height. In notice stating, danger, incomplete scaffold keep off shall be fixed or erected to stop end. This notice shall be appropriate language. Handballing shall be normal method of erecting a scaffold, where, however, a scaffold consists of a considerable number of lifts. A gin wheel may be used provided following requirements are met. Cantilever tube to which gin wheel is secured does not provide more than 760 mm beyond the scaffold unless it is adequately supported. Cantilever tube is secured to inside and outside standard using right angle couplers. Both both standards to be diagonally braced. Fiber rope having a minimum diameter of 18 mm shall be checked, inspected daily by an approved scaffolding supervisor and discarded if noticed unfit for use. Maximum load to be lifted by a gin wheel shall not exceed 50 kg. Inspection. All scaffolds shall be inspected prior to use and at 7 days period frequency or interval regularly thereafter. Scaffold users. Scaffold shall be used for intended purpose only. Under no circumstances shall they be overloaded. Scaffolds users shall under no circumstances interfere with, modify or remove any part of a scaffold. This includes scaffold boards. Interference with a scaffold shall result in disciplinary action. Scaffold requires modifications. If a scaffold requires modifications, it shall be carried out by an approved scaffolder on instruction of an approved scaffold supervisor. If for some reason a user considers a scaffold to be unsafe, shall immediately contact respective supervisor. Supervisor shall immediately remove scaffold tag and place boarding barriers tape through lower rungs of first access ladder. Supervisor shall then notify scaffolding supervisor. Then ladders. Care and use of portable ladders. All ladders are to be kept in good condition at all times. Ladders are to be inspected at 6 month interval by a competent person. Each ladder shall be marked with an identification number and date of last inspection. EPC contracts shall maintain records of ladders inspection. Ladders shall be of adequate length to enable it to extend to at least 1 meter above platform or working point. When you say extension ladders, an overlap of two rungs is recommended for a length of 5 meters, four rungs for 7 meters long ladder. Use of ladders in a horizontal position as scaffolding is forbidden. Correct placing and securing ladder is very important for its safe use and following guidelines should be followed. Ladder must be set on a firm level and non-slippery base. Placing ladder in pool of unknown liquids is dangerous as they may be corrosive or slippery. One soft ground, solid footing has to be provided to prevent ladder from sinking. One firm earth or soil ladder should be set in prepared scraped out groups. On hard, smooth surfaces, sandbags or cement can be used to secure it in position. There are devices available to prevent slipping. Feet and shoes. Feet and shoes fitted to bottom of styles. Feet and shoes fitted to bottom of styles to increase grip and prevent slipping on hard, smooth surfaces. It is advisable to connect base of ladder to an anchorage, if available, scaffold member, ground stick, anchor or nails. Ladder must be secured effectively by lashing it to its upper resting place to prevent sideways movement. Leaning a ladder against or lashing it to a pipeline or lesser than 3-inch diameter is not permitted. Retaining hooks designed to fit over a secure rail or non-slip pads can help prevent sideway slip if lashing is not possible. When top securing is impractical, ladder can be effectively secured by using guys in conjunction with foot lashing. Only with short ladders and then only when used for short time should a person be used to foot ladder to provide protection. Correct positioning of ladder is 305 mm out of base for every 12-20 mm of 4 feet height. Ladders should not be placed against a window, panic, or sash. Doors and openings under ladders must be locked and gangway blocked off or place guarded by second person. Safety rules for using ladders. Ensure that footwear is not greasy, muddy, or slippery and has a good grip on rungs. Face ladder on Face ladder on and hold on with hands. Carry light tools or light materials on pockets, on a shoulder bags or attached to a suitable belt. Heavy Hoist heavy tools and materials using rope and a gin block separate from a ladder. Do not climb to higher than third rung from top of straight or extension ladders or second thread from top on step ladder. Step ladder must be fully open and divider interlocked. Portable ladders must not be used in high winds. Fixed ladders. Fixed ladders are installed where frequent but irregular access is necessary. They are usually of steel with rungs welded to stringers, vertical members. Ladders with a vertical rise of more than 3 meters must have safety cage provided every 1.5 meters throughout length of ladder. Rest platform should be provided at least every 10 meters. Stingers angles outway upwards where ladder gives access to platform. For using fixed ladders, some previous safety rules apply and are to be followed. And references are these, then specifications are there, maximum span of scaffold boards is given there in table. Normal thickness of board is 38 mm, 50 mm, 63 mm. Three types are there. Maximum span of is for 38 is 1.5. Between transom for 50 it is 2.6, for 63 is 3.25. Minimum overhang for 38 mm is 50, and 50 is 50, and 63 is 50, and maximum overhang for 38 mm is 150, for 50 mm is 200, and for 63 mm is 250. Width of axis and working platforms. Purpose. Purpose minimum width, practical width using 225 mm boards. Work on spherical or cylindrical metal structure. Work from ladders, folding trestles, suspended scaffolds. Minimum width is 60 mm, 60, 600 mm. Practical width using 225 mm board is 3 boards. Working platform for persons and for deposit of materials, then it is 800 mm, must be 400 mm. Passes for persons clear of materials and four boards. For support of a trestle or other higher platform, it is 1.05 meters minimum width and 5 boards. Used by masons for dressing or shaping stone, 1.33 mm, 1.3 meters and 6 boards, and used by masons to support trestles or other higher platforms is 1.5 meters and 7 boards. So this is what about it's it. This is what is about various chapters. Only few chapters about safety, SHE. Not just I spoke from that, and I think we have to understand safety in a well structured manner. Otherwise, we cannot support our staff or workers who are working with us on sites or on various projects. It is our basic responsibility, in addition to engineering responsibility or quality responsibility or other responsibility, that safety must be considered as first step. Otherwise, we miss our duties. Qualities and quantity and other responsibilities of course are essential, but if I am not safe, my people are not safe, how can I say that I'm proficient? It doesn't cost much, hardly it costs 0.5% cost of project, but it is awareness, it is a responsibility to consider, it is responsible to make sure that people understand what is safety. Just writing is also not enough. Just booking knowledge is not enough. You have to explain to people every time, from time to time, by demonstrations, because those who are working with us, they are not very well high profile degree people. They are practical people. They have technical knowledge, but they cannot read them. So you have to explain to them, and you have to chart out people from those people only, because you have to teach them. They can teach others. It is very important. Repetition of information is also important. Don't think that if I told them before they understand them, they are laborers, they are workers. They use 90-80% of energy using physical activities. 10% is only which they can talk, and otherwise they can contact others and coordinate. So they forget. There are chances those people keep forgetting, and it is our because we too forget. Everybody forgets, and it is taken for granted. Why wasting time is safety? Every time you're taking half an hour to teach people about these activities, about toolbox talks, but half an hour is more important than wasting half year of that person, wasting 3 months of that person. If that person is caught by accident, that was involved in accident, you have to pay time, you have to pay money, you have to pay compensation, you have to lose project time, you have to replace that person. There are so many considerations which can cost 100 times of cost that you would have spent on him. And it's very important from professional engineering point of view, from construction point of view, from constructability point of view, and from gentleman point of view, and from humility point of view. It cannot be taken for granted. In our country, people are not that serious, and they are of sleeping nature. Even if you are of a sleeping nature, don't join site. If you are not serious, don't join site. If you are not serious at all, don't go to engineering field, because engineering field is not sleeping or non-serious field. Here you take responsibility. You are using human resources. You are using machines. You are using electrical world. You are using many other professional words. You cannot take everything for granted. You are responsible for life of people. You may not pass that responsibility to someone else, because you are using those people. You are producing product, producing project, because of the, if people are not there, resources are there, your project cannot exist. You cannot exist. You have to use them. They are your supports. You have to respect that support. These procedures, this safety, quality, construction, this and that, are all based on your management. They are not based on somebody else's management. And safety is first, doesn't mean that safety is top. It means first consideration is safety. If you don't consider safety to required degree, you lose your potential, you use your time. And if you take this framework into your hands, just keeping an eye, you can control it. Just with one man support, you can control it. It's not difficult. You have to keep in your eyes. We call foreman has 100 eyes, and this means engineer must have 200 eyes, and manager must have 300 eyes. It's like that. It's a joke. It's not a joke. It's a fact. In general, we say foreman is not foreman. He's a man at front. He is a warrior for work. So he has a responsibility, you have a responsibility, management has a responsibility, company has a responsibility, state has a responsibility, government has a responsibility. Everyone is responsible, because you are using natural resources, you are using human resources, and you have no right to allow someone to die because of you. And with this, I close this. I'll take some time else. It's already 3 hours are over, and I'm happy that at least I could pass some knowledge, some interactions, some kind of information to you. And I've already posted this text on this video. You can refer to that, and we'll see again. Thank you very much for attendance.